Hey everybody, this is Al with El Rey Collection. Today to talk to you about the epic cardboard of Billy Meredith. Obviously one of the great stars of the early game. His career spanned more than 27 years, and a lot of that was with Manchester United and Manchester City. So he really is one of the early greats. Him along with Bloomer, I'd say, kind of are ahead of the pack in terms of recognition. Recently, one of his cards last month or so sold for 5 or 6 thousand U.S. dollars. Kind of denotes that he's really getting some credibility where that's likely due. So I figured it was a good time to do a video on one of these early greats of the game, and we'll start with one card which I'm not sure if this is really from the 1890s. In fact, I tend to be a little wary about dating any Bane shield. These are notoriously difficult to date, but this particular one is just a beautiful copy of an early collectible for Meredith. I don't think this is considered his rookie card, and in fact, many people don't consider the Shields cards at all. I tend to, just because I'm flexible with my soccer collecting, with Pogs and metal and other things that were intended to be collected. I tend to categorize them all as cards, whether they're stickers, shields, Pogs, medals. But anyway, since Meredith has a bunch of cards, I'm going to try to get to it and not slow down with any tangential conversation, because he's got a lot of cards in a 27-year career. So this particular one, you can see, was pasted into one of those albums that have those glue lines, so it got slightly damaged, but still an epic piece of cardboard. This early Bane shield from Meredith. What I'd say is generally considered his rookie card is this 1901, 1900, 1902, depending on where you are. This one split the difference at 1901. This is the Ogdens, and it's called Meredith at Work. If you look real closely here, Meredith at Work, and he's taking a corner kick, and you can look. Unfortunately, if you don't have this card, it's hard to fully appreciate, but there's all these fans, kids in the corner overlooking, fans behind the fence. It's really cool. I don't typically love action cards, and I usually put them at a premium discount to other cards, but this is kind of the first time, to my knowledge, we ever see football action cards, and that is kind of groundbreaking of itself and goes the other way, if you will, from a value perspective, from my mind. Plus, since you can really appreciate the people up close when you look at this card, looking with admiration and awe at Meredith, I think it adds a whole other level to this card. So this is what I consider his rookie card. And I think that it's generally accepted as a rookie card. It's hard to find, so I think a lot of people gravitate to this 1902 Wills. If you've seen my work with the Bloomer video, you would have recognized some of the same phenomena. The Wills is the common one, and this is the one that you can generally get out there. Again, these are becoming more and more difficult to find. But after the Wills, the standard Wills, you get the mauve colored one, which also has the same back. So again, from a back perspective, Cinderella, Will Cinderella, Will Cinderella, you don't notice any different. It's just the coloring on the front, and similar to the the Bloomer, because he's in both sets. You have the standard Wills, and then you get the Clarks, which is significantly different in terms of it has the titles up here, and it has this really nice yellow back. So Again, if we're looking at the order of priority, this is the easiest, followed by the mauve version of the same Wills, but has the same back there. And then we end it with the most difficult, which would be this Clark's, all issued in 1902. And for him, from a portrait perspective, I'd consider all of those his rookie. Again, not the most, some of the more common, especially the standard Wills of the issues. And one things I really like about these early British cards is it's not just about the rookie. For most collectors, mostly UK collectors, they understand the scarcity and attractiveness of certain sets. One of which, of course, is this 1907 Taddy. Unfortunately, PSA here gets it wrong and calls this a 1913-14 Taddy. But if they knew a little more about soccer, they would know that that's impossible because the grapple mixture only happens in the 1907 Taddies, and the London mixture is what happens in 1914, 13. So 1913, 14, and I'll show you that other card later so you can see the difference clearly between those cards. Again, absolute epic and super important card to have. I mean, any Taddy of any star is epic. So I'm going to go from that 1907 and just jump right into another stunningly important card, and this is the Copes Clips, noted footballers, which is Cope and Bros. So you have this. I think you may have seen on my bloomer. You get the outline here of the impression. From the front, this really nice oval, and just a beautiful baby blue collectible here. One of my favorite Meredith cards. So these which are traditionally called, I'd say, between us collectors, Cope Clips. We don't tend to call them with the long name of the actual, Cope and Brothers and Company Limited, noted footballers, Copes Clips. We just call them Copes Clips. So here is the 1909 10, and this is the, again, from a traditional standpoint, W, D, and H, O Willis, so Wills. So we'll call this, Wills, and these will also have different backs. So you notice here, then let's go over to, a PSA version, and you flip it over, and this is a scissors back. So they have these different backs on this. PSA is going to call this a 1910, right? International Scissors, and they actually recognize the back. And then this one is just going to, SGC doesn't even call out the back on these. So just be aware, I'm not the one to tell you which backs are scarcer. I just try to, if I don't have the back, I pick it up type of thing. There's probably a little bit, you could be a little bit more sophisticated there about trying to figure out which backs are more rare than others. And this is a phenomena you'll see through a lot of these early 1910s cards. Another WD and HO. This is famous footballers, and this is a different, obviously, card, but with a scissors back, which is a brand of theirs. And then you'll see when I flip this over, it's the same card. And here's this circular back for the Bristol and London. So they have different brands that they're selling in different markets, and the card is basically the same. So there you go. No noticeable difference to the card, just differences in the back. So these are from, again, 1910, where there's a number of issues of him, but probably none more important or iconic than this one, which is one of those that recently sold for a substantial amount. This noted football set, again, from Cope Brothers, is I tend to call this with my collecting colleagues the solace. It's just beautiful photographic card, fantastic image with a blank back. So these To say he's a noted footballer is an understatement. There he is with Manchester United. Unbelievably cool card, and the market has really realized that, given the prices that those are selling for. As we kind of move on, throughout his career, in the pre-war period, you see this is our R&J Hill. They'll do lots of cards in time, but look at how nice that back is. This is the famous footballers again, and just really, really cool. This R&J Hill Limited. Gotta enjoy that in his suit, looking all fancy, and then a bunch of manufacturer will reuse photos and crop them different. Here's a perfect example of these Smiths cards. So this is footballers. You notice he's slightly farther away on the projection from another one that I'll show you here in a second. And here's the Albion Gold Flake. I think at least it may be PSA, maybe not. Actually puts the Albion Gold Flake on the slabs. But so this one's a little bit farther away. Actually, I'll leave this one here as I show the next one. This is also from Smith's. So you notice, oh, was that the same? Well, not really. He's slightly farther away there. You see more black. You get this version. They've cropped it differently. This is also from Smith's, and it is a different back. This is the cup tie. Not in great shape, as you can see from some of the smearing. But, these things are more than 100 years old. They're hard to find. He's a superstar. He's been well collected through time. And not all these cards are easy to come by. Another great, example is, the Murray cigarettes. Some people have mentioned this could be his most rare issue. Now, does that make it his most important? I mean, rarity by itself doesn't matter unless it's important. I tend to think this is a very important set. But, if I were to line them up and I'm like, dang, which one would you rather have? Would you have a Taddy? I may even take a Taddy over Murray's, even though it's more scarce. But regardless, for people trying to put together a run of Meredith cards, this is going to be one of the ones that's going to be on the list for a long time. These are hard to find, not many copies. And while nobody, either PSA or SEC, haven't really noticed these or haven't recognized these series, this is a Series H, and I'll show you here in a second. Kind of ironic because it's the exact same grade, looks like the same card. So this Murray's, you can barely tell here, is a Series J. So, sometimes it's just, I look at, here's my deal. I'd pick up either one of them and call it a day. I don't think you need to get both Series J and Series 8. They're the exact same card, just this tiny little thing on the back, which I noticed years ago, and I still don't know all the details on why there were different series, but clearly there were. It's printed on the card. So those Murray's cards are super rare. But this brings us back to the whole Taddy, discussion. And with that, I'm going to show you what I think is, I think you could legitimately make a case that this is the honest Wagner of soccer collecting. And let me tell you why. Just hear me out before you close this video and say, what the hell is this guy talking about? So this card, number one, it comes from an epic, iconic set. Very much like the Honest Wagner comes from, the T206, set, which is, 9 years after his 1901 rookie, at least from a card perspective. And here, it's very much a similar thing. This is no way going to be confused for a rookie card. But it's from the super iconic set, and specifically the Taddies in 1913-14 when they're issued. We're on the cusp of the war, and then everything gets kind of stopped. So production gets stopped as the war is getting underway to conserve paper and resources for other things. And so many of these cards are thought not to be issued at all, ever. And, for, more than 90 years, this card doesn't even get cataloged. There were a bunch of Manchester United players that just didn't get cataloged until I want to say 2000 or 2002. And I think most people believe that there are less than 5 of these cards available. So you're talking epic set, epic player, the lore of why they barely exist. I mean, you're all checking all these Honest Wagner boxes. By the way, there's like, what, 60 Honest Wagners out there? And so, I think between all of these things and, just this super rare, remember what I've told you in other videos, these London mixture backs are the only ones that come from the 1913, 1914 second run of Taddies. And they're just beautiful. Look at this. So I think that this card, between the image, the Taddies, the player, has to be one of the most important pre-war cards in all of soccer. Now, if you disagree with me and you think I'm crazy, please let me know in the comments and tell me some other choices that you would have and why I would be crazy. Just because, the lore, the card, the player, the image, I just look at this and say that this has got to be the one. So for me, it is, and this card is amazing. So you may say, okay, what's the difference between this? I mean, why do you really care? It's kind of like, you're reprinting one from a few years earlier. Well, not really. Look at this card. So you see, it's a different image altogether. That image to this image. You see he's wearing the button up, right? So again, here's don't pay attention to the slab. This is the 1907, 1908 Billy Meredith, and this is the 1913-14 one. The back here is grapple mixture, and you can find Imperial Tobacco, I believe, on him, certainly on other players. And then on the 13-14 is London mixture. So these guys, Taddy and Co., went back to the stalwart that they knew people loved, and they issued the cards. Unfortunately, they had to stop because of the war. And to me, I'm just one of my marquee cards in the collection. Love this Billy Meredith. So hope you do too, as well. After we come out of the war, we start to get some more production of cards. And here's a prime example. Look beautiful in the Manchester United red. Really, really nice. Back. I need my glasses to read it though, but talks about all the results. Love this one. And not actually nearly as common as you'd expect from being in the teens. Then we jump into these very, very famous and super collected Godfrey Phillips. I'm gonna pause and have a shout out to the Pinnis. There's a Pinnis website that catalogs this. This set goes from 1921 to 1925, and it talks about or has literally thousands of cards when you count not just the numbers used on the cards, but also all the variations of those. And just to see how deep this rabbit hole is, I'm going to show you a bunch of variations. From a collector standpoint, if I'm not overly anal, I'm probably going to pick one of these up and call it a day. Here you're going to get, and you're going to notice that PSA doesn't even bother with all these variations. But here you'll see this back, and this back, it says pay special attention to this address photo. They have this exchange mechanism where if you send in some of these, you'll get a larger card. We'll come back to that in a second. And you're going to see a bunch of different backs, and you'll even see different teams. So this particular one, at this point, he's on Manchester City. Okay, so just keep this all in mind as I show you some of the next Pinnis cards. So here's one, and that SGC grades, and he's on Manchester United. Now you're going to notice there's a 62 here, whereas here you also have a 62. So they're keeping the player number the same. But if you look at the back here, look at this beautiful and ornate back. Very, very different than this back. right? So I don't exactly know all of the variations. I think I've posted in a couple places some of these differences over time. SGC started to call these type A, B, C, D, E, F because there's so many different ones. This one here will say, here's an address photo, and then the words change on some of these from one version to another. Here you go. Here's another one on United, and then you'll notice this back is different from this back. You can see the bold. Sometimes the verbiage is different. It's just sometimes the graphics are a little bit different. Sometimes the address is different. Again, this is things going on over a 5-year period. And here he's on Manchester United. So that one they call D. This one they call E. Now he's on City here. This one says address Pinnis instead of photo. So this is Pinnis photos. So again, you need to, you can look and try to chase these all down. You're going to notice the number here now is 62 in this bottom corner here on Manchester City. On this one, remember, some of the other ones, it's 62 in white letters down here. So, again, how deep you want to go down to the rabbit hole is kind of up to you. Here's another Pinnis back. So you've got different teams, different backs, different addresses. All these different things leads to, I think I have six different variations. Of course, my favorite is this one, just because of the ornateness of the back, and I believe that this one is generally accepted to be one of the first issues, closer to 1921. I think generally SGC puts 1921 on the slabs, and PSA puts 1925, if I'm not wrong. Let me put this one in front of you while I just double check that assertion. So when you took 25 of those, these are all 1921s, which actually is not the case. They were, again, over a 4 or 5 year period. Oh, this one, no, they're all 1921s according to SGC, which they're not. They're 1921 to 25s probably, and certain ones you can actually narrow the dates down more because of the teams or whatever. But here, when you mailed these 25 in to the photos address or the Pinnis address, depending on when you were doing it, you would get one card back, and that card was a more standard size card. So let's look. So here's the small one. You'd mail back 25 of these, and then you'd get this. And it would be random. You didn't send in 25 Merediths and get a Meredith back. You send in 25 cards, and you get a random one back. That was not frequently done. I guess the kids or collectors didn't see that as a good deal. And so what happened is these became exceedingly scarce. And you can see it's the same photo, just blown up, 62, Manchester City, with a different back. And then it said, you could send 5 perfectly clean Pinnis cigarette photos, and then you'd get a bigger set, right? So there's bigger ones that are like, not quite 8x10s from what I recall, but like a 5x7 card, so you can even have those. You could even get those back through the second exchange program. But this, to me, is perfect. This is unbelievable. People spend lives trying to find all the Pinnis variations and collect them again. Similar to the Taddies, there's a whole website of people dedicated to really filling out their Pinnis collections, and I have a ton of respect for those people because it's so nuanced, some of these variations, but also it's so fun. It's a mega set, issued over, many years. So, but to me, the Grail cards are these medium cards because they're hard. And if you were an exchanger, you likely wanted to go for the biggest of the big. So very few people would stop in the middle, and most of those middle cards kind of got traded out. Yeah, the big ones are still tough today, but the middle ones to me are kind of a little bit of grailish when I think about my collection, and not very commonly seen. So again, if you happen to find these, pick them up. I think the market does not value how scarce, especially those medium size cards are, and even commons. I think that they're worth picking up. So now that we're done with the pinnis and we so excited about the Taddy conversation, wanted to finish off with a couple late career. This is the casket cigarettes. Again, late career, but still really nice. Real photo postcards. Cards. It's been a long video already. And this bat card, British American Tobacco, nice orange, pops off this. Love this card. Beautiful back as well. Here he's on City. And then I think this is one of his. And then he's on a number of team cards as well. I won't show those. City United. Here's a 1925 Patro, and it's an in-action photo. So here he is, still playing. He starts in the late 1890s, and continues on playing through the mid 1920s. And that's why he's an epic player. I mean, he was great at controlling the game. He scored 100 plus goals, but it's really about his control of the game, his leadership, and that's why he's a legend. And he's a legend not only on the pitch, but from collectors, I think, have truly understood his importance to the early game, the scarcity of some of his issues. And if you didn't know this, hopefully some of my commentary is helpful to you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, I really hope you'll smash that like button. Leave me some comments on your thoughts. I've probably said some semi-controversial things here, and would love to hear your take on it. Hope you love this walkthrough of the epic cardboard of Billy Meredith, and I hope that you'll continue to tell your friends. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. It means a lot, and it takes quite a bit of time to put this stuff together. So thanks so much, and have a great day.